Hello and welcome back to Leagles Educare. Today we are going to talk about something that touches nearly every family in India, that is marriage under Hindu law. It's more than just a celebration. It's a sacred bond full of rituals, beliefs and yes, some important legal rules too. So let's start. In Hinduism, marriage is not just about two people getting together. It's considered a sacrament, a spiritual bond that's meant to last forever even beyond this lifetime. And to make sure these traditions fit into today's world, we have the Hindu Marriage Act of 1955. This law is not just for Hindus, it also covers Buddhists, Sikhs and Jains. Imagine a colorful Indian wedding, music, dancing and the couple exchanging varmalas, that is garlands. It's beautiful, but it is also serious business. These ceremonies are what make a marriage real and binding both spiritually and legally. Let's explore a really interesting case, Dolly Rani versus Manish Kumar Chanchal 2024 Supreme Court. The Supreme Court had something strong to say about what marriage truly means under Hindu law. It's not just an excuse for song and dance, wining and dining, or even an event to demand or exchange dowry gifts. In this case, the court said a Hindu marriage is not just a social event or a party. It's a samskara, a sacred ritual, and one of the most important in a person's life. A Hindu marriage must be performed with proper ceremonies like the Saptapadi, that is 7 sacred steps taken around the holy fire. These 7 steps are deeply symbolic. According to the Rig Veda, after the 7th step, the groom tells the bride, with 7 steps we have become friends. May our friendship never break. In this case, 2 commercial pilots tried to get a divorce even though they had not had a valid wedding ceremony. The Supreme Court declared their marriage null and void because they skipped the essential rites. The judges even gave young people a reality check. Think deeply about marriage before tying the knot. It's a foundational part of society, not a commercial or business transaction. A marriage is not about pressuring families for gifts or treating it like a deal. It's about building a dignified and equal partnership that forms the base of a future family, and the law takes that very seriously. If you have not followed proper rituals, your marriage cannot be legally recognized under the Hindu Marriage Act. The Supreme Court made it clear, even if you have a marriage certificate, it won't hold up if you did not follow the rituals. Registration helps prove your marriage but does not create one. And if you are thinking about tying the knot without traditional rites, there is always the Special Marriage Act of 1954, which does not require religious ceremonies. Under the Special Marriage Act, people of any faith or even mixed backgrounds can get married without rituals. But under Hindu law, the ceremonies are non-negotiable. They preserve the sacred sacramental nature of marriage. So how does a Hindu marriage actually happen? According to Section 7 of Hindu Marriage Act, the wedding has to follow the customs of either the bride's or the groom's family. And in India, customs vary a lot. For example, in some communities, a simple exchange of garlands makes a marriage complete. In others, it might involve an elaborate fire ritual, yagna, with priests chanting sacred mantras. But one thing that's common in many ceremonies is the Saptapadi, or the 7 steps around the holy fire. Once the couple completes those 7 steps, they are officially married. Now let's talk about what makes a marriage valid under the law. Section 5 of Hindu Marriage Act lays out some clear conditions. First off, neither person should already be married. No second marriages while the first spouse is still alive. Imagine this: Rohan tries to marry Meera, but he is already married to Priya. That's illegal. If he goes ahead, that marriage is totally void. Plus, Rohan could get into a serious trouble for bigamy. There is even a famous case, Yamuna Bai versus Ranant Rao, where the Supreme Court made it clear marrying someone when you already have a spouse is completely void. No exceptions. Next, both people need to give free and full consent. This means they understand what marriage means and agree to it without any pressure. Section 5 Clause 2 protects people from being forced into marriage or tricked because they don't fully understand what's happening. Think about Radha, who has a serious mental condition. If someone forces her to get married, that's not okay. The law would consider the marriage voidable, meaning it could be cancelled to protect Radha. Age is another big deal. The groom has to be at least 21 and the bride 18. That's the law. But this was not always the case. Before 1978, the legal marriage ages were even lower. These rules are here to protect young people from child marriage. Imagine a 16-year-old being forced into marriage. That's not just wrong, it's illegal, and anyone involved could face serious punishment. These age limits are all about making sure both people are mature enough to handle marriage. Now let's talk about who you cannot marry. Section 5 Clause 4 says you cannot marry close relatives. For example, no marrying your brother, sister, uncle, aunt or first cousins unless your customs specifically allow it. Take Arjun. If he wants to marry his first cousin Sneha, he has to check his community's rules. If their community does not allow cousin marriages, that wedding just can't happen. And breaking this rule is not just frowned upon, it's illegal. What about the Sapinda rule? It sounds complicated, but it is not. Basically, you cannot marry someone closely related through your family tree. The rule covers 5 generations from your father's side and 3 generations from your mother's side. Let's say Arjun wants to marry a girl who is related to him within these generations. If their customs don't allow it, the marriage would be illegal, and breaking this rule could mean jail time or fines. And yes, there are penalties for breaking these rules. Marrying someone under age or within a prohibited relationship can lead to jail time or fines. The law is not just here for fun, it's serious about protecting people. Imagine someone arranging a marriage for a 17-year-old girl. If the law catches up, the people responsible could face up to 2 years in prison or a big fine. It's not something anyone wants to risk. Finally, let's talk about marriage registration. It may feel like boring paperwork, but it is important. In Seema versus Ashwani Kumar 2006, the Supreme Court made it clear every marriage should be registered. This protects your rights, especially in legal disputes over property or inheritance. Think of registration as a safety net. If there are disputes about property, inheritance, or anything else, having proof of marriage can save a lot of trouble. It's always better to have everything documented. And that's a wrap on marriage under Hindu law. It's a fascinating blend of tradition and modern law. From colorful rituals to strict rules about age and consent, the law tries to respect culture while protecting people. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Leagles Educare. Got questions or thoughts? Drop them in the comments. We'd love to chat. Thanks for watching. Stay informed, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.